It will be presented by Dheeraj. And Dheeraj is 2020 batch pass out and is currently working in Active AI company. And I guess this is Dheeraj's first ever talk. Correct, Dheeraj?
Yes, yes, it's my first talk. Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
I'm very excited. Yeah.
All the best and stage is all yours. You can continue now.
Okay, so I'm sharing my screen, guys. So let me know when it's visible to you, right? So is it visible? Yes.
Yes, we're able to see.
Okay, okay.
Yep.
So I see a good number of count. 41 is a good count, so I'm really excited. So it's my first talk. So I'm the first speaker of this initiative number talks by Devkode. So I'm very happy for it. So the first topic is atomic design in React. So first of all, let me introduce myself. So my name is Dheeraj. I'm a front-end developer working with some awesome people at Active AI. So I'm a fresher, just 2020 pass out. So it's been around 2.5 months in this company, and I've learned a lot. And now I know that our pet projects are very, very much different from the production apps. So what I have gained in this short span of time, so I'm going to share all my experiences with you. So that's why we have this talk today. So it's called atomic design. So let's see what is atomic design actually. So it's a design methodology introduced by Brad Frost. So what we do is we have 5 different levels in it. So we progressively continue moving towards each level to create a user interface so that we have a more structured, more hierarchical interface design. So it's totally this atomic design term is totally for interfaces. And one more thing that I want to clear out is it's just a design methodology. It's neither a new framework nor a new JavaScript library out there in the market. So we'll be covering what is it. So let me give you a bird's eye view of what atomic design is. What we do is now we have an interface. So we try to break it into small components, small reusable components, and in later stages, we try to combine those components to create a complete interface. So this is the bird's eye view. You have to remember this to get this topic more better way. Now let us see where this idea actually came from. So the guy Brad Frost came to know this from the universe. So he observed what happens around us. So I want you all guys to look at the slide from the angle of chemistry, that what happens around us. So you see everything around us is made up of atoms. Agree? So it looks more like coronavirus, I think, but this was the only emoji I got for the atom. So everything is made up of atom, and each atom possesses some properties, some unique properties in it. Now, what happens if we combine different atoms? So different atoms combine together to form more complex molecules, you can say. And further, these molecules combine to form more complex organisms. Now, just tell me one thing. It would be easy for us to understand this complex organism if we know what what are the elements it is made up of. For example, let's take a water molecule. So if we want to study it, if we are suppose we are a scientist and we want to study how water molecule behaves, so it would be easy for us to predict what reaction it has and what properties it has if we know that what it is made up of. So it is made up of 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen atom. So we can easily predict that how it's going to behave in our reactions or what are the properties it will possess. So the same idea what this guy did, Brad Frost, he took this chemistry idea plus his critical thinking gave birth to this fancy term called atomic design. So if so you will see that this is not a new term. It's just a fancy term. It's an old toy in the shop given a new fancy name, wrapped in a fancy wrapper and just put out for the market. So we'll see that you guys are using atomic design for a long period of time. It's just a fancy term. So we'll see. So up to this slide, I think you got a clear understanding of what atomic design is. image itself, and then these reaction icons, like counter, username, and this user description. So all these things are atoms because you cannot break them further, right? But if you do, you can break it. If you do, they would have no meaning at all in the UI. So we keep atoms at a separate place. Now we move to our second step, that is molecules. A molecule come into reality when we combine different atoms together, and they are more functional unit in the UI. They possess some functionality. For example, let's see what are the molecules in our page in this UI. First molecule would be this header. This header molecule, it is made up of three atoms: this back navigation button, this photo label, and this refresh icon. So if we collectively combine these atoms together, we get a header molecule. And it's what functionality it possesses. It has some functionality of, you can say, secondary navigation. We can go back to a screen, we can have a look at what is my current page, then I can refresh the page. So it has a concrete functionality. The second molecule I can take is this post head. This post head is made up of user image, username, and this timestamp. Now this itself is an atom, nothing fancy here. Then the third atom would be this reaction molecule, sorry, which is made up of three atoms: this like button, comment, and this more options. Then we have these two molecules, like molecule and this post description molecule. Now what I want you guys to understand is molecules have some functionality in the UI. Suppose this has some functionality, it has some meaning. It is showing that who created this post and when that user created this post. This has some functionality of reactions. This is showing me likes, and this is showing me the description of the post. So molecules possess some concrete concrete functionality in the UI. Now one more thing, when you start progressing towards left hand side to and from left to right, so you'll see that we are moving from an abstract view of our application towards concrete view of application, right? You see, these atoms have no meaning at all. I mean, we can say that this is a search bar, this is back button, but what functionality they are doing, what are the thing that is going to happen when we click this. Now molecule has these functionalities, more functionality, that if we click this back button, so we'll go back to our previous screen, correct? Now the third stage is organism. Organisms are nothing but a combination of molecules and atoms together. So more organisms are more complex UI elements. For example, now you take collectively this whole post container. So if I combine post head molecule, this atom, this reaction molecule, like molecule, and this description molecule, so I collectively get an organism molecule that can be reused throughout my UI, correct? So you can see we are moving more towards concrete or more final design of our UI. Now the fourth step is templates. Now if we combine all organisms together, so we get our templates. You can say templates are the final mockup, not final. You can say contentless markup or the prototype of application. Now just one thing. So if we insert a content, the original content into this template, we get our final design, correct? So there's a clean separation between our structure and between our content. So if we put our content into this template, we get a final UI. So this is the complete idea of atomic design, that we try to break it into smallest atoms, smallest UI atoms, and we try to combine them. We progressively move from left to right till we achieve our final UI. And we will see that what advantages it will give us. Okay. Now till this slide, any questions, guys?
Hey Dheeraj, this is Ravi here.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so this atomic design is one kind of design where we can develop the front end. Is it, or is this
Yes, yes.
the base for all?
No, it is totally for user interface design, nothing else.
Okay, this is
And
also one kind of designing, right?
hi, it's a methodology. For example, you have different paradigms for programming, right? Like object oriented, you have functional, imperative, etc. So it is, you think it like this. It's just a methodology. It's a coding practice, you can say. It's a project structuring. So you have
Okay,
different project structures. So it's one of them. Correct?
okay. So based upon our use case, we can adapt to it.
We can
Different use
adapt
case.
it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Dheeraj.
Okay. So let's,
Hey Dheeraj, Gopal here.
yes, Gopal.
Yeah, so consider if I have a global variables in CSS, like those variable, like do I need to define like create in atoms or like
No, that variable you will be creating it in if you are considering CSS variables, na? So that you will consider in your CSS file itself, the root element. But your atoms would be using that. Your atoms would be referencing to that variables, right? For example, this back button. So this back button, you will define it in some atoms file. So it would have some width, height, color, and background color. So it would possess and cap those styles into it. Correct.
okay,
Now, if you call this atoms anywhere in your UI, na, so that atom would be same. That atom would be this only. So
okay, so
you'll see that we are reusing our components at a very good scale.
okay, yeah, got it. So variables will define a separate file, like common file.
You can define it into separate one, or I'll show you how I'm going to define it in my React project, right? So
Okay,
just wait for 2 or 3 slides. I'll
yeah,
be coming to it.
thank
Okay. So let's see what we have next. So before going to advantages, I want to show you implementation, how I'm going to implement my atomic design in React. So let us open my VS Code. So guys, I'm going to create this the simplest minimalistic UI for you so that you don't have any confusion. So just tell me, so we need to apply atomic design in it, correct? Now just I'm giving you 15 to 20 seconds. Just try to break it into atoms, molecules, and organisms. Your time starts now. Just do it. Also, I see many replies. Okay, so let us do it. So what I see that I can see that we are reusing this heading, we are reusing this description and this thumbnail. So what I do, I break this into 3 items. The first one would be heading. Then the second one would be a description, and the third one would be our thumbnail. Right. So it's a menu card actually, and these are food items. Correct. So atoms is done. Atoms are done. Now the second thing is molecule. So what are molecules? So I told you previously that molecules are collection of atoms that possess some functionality or some meaning in the UI. So if I collectively combine these 3 atoms, heading, text, and thumbnail, so I get a food item molecule. I can say it a food item molecule. It has its own meaning, that it's showing me description and image of this particular food item. So we have 3 food item. What do you say? The second one is, shit, I forgot. Wait a minute. What is the molecules? So the second thing is, so these are my 3 molecules. Now the third one, we have to create an organism. So organisms are collection of molecules and atoms, but in this case, there would be only one molecule. I have named it as menu molecule, or menu organism, sorry. Now I am not using templates in it because templates, you generally use templates when you have a lot of big UI and you have dynamic content in it. So I'm not using template in this example. And the final fifth level is page. So this is my landing page where I am rendering this, what you say, menu organism. So let us see the project structure in React. So this is my source folder and my entry point is index.js. These are my simple resets, CSS resets. Now in my app file, I import all the pages. So I have simple one page landing. So I'm just rendering landing here. Now what I do is I prefer creating a components folder and I create three different directories, one for atoms, one for molecules and one for organisms. And I keep my fifth level, that is pages, outside the components because you see pages are our final design, correct, that we are going to render. So I generally keep them outside the components so that it is easily accessible, but it's up to your choice. You can place it inside components as well, or it's totally on your preferences. So I generally do this. So let us see what are our atoms. So for this, for this example, I'm using style components. Let me just quickly show you what is it. So style components is a way where you can couple your CSS with your React components. So it gives us a default export called style. So I put dot and any valid HTML element, and it will give me a React element button. So this button would be an anchor tag with these styles associated with it. So it's a good library, I think. So I would prefer you to visit this and use this in your projects because it is highly famous now and a lot of companies are adopting it. So let us see our atoms now. So see, we have three atoms, one for heading, which is an H3 tag. It has a font weight of 400, color of gray. Then second atom is text, which is a paragraph, right? So these are my React elements. So I can use them like this, heading, correct? Now third atom would be my thumbnail, which is a span having a font size of 50 pixels. Now these are my simple layout components that I created. This is just a flex, which is a div with a display property of flex. Then I'm just extending this flex. You can extend any of these components using this bracket notation. So I'm just extending this flex and just putting some properties for making my menu card at the center. It's not a fancy thing, right? I think it should be clear to you. Now let us see what are my molecules. So I have one molecule only here, food item. So I created a file called food item in my molecules directory. Now I am importing my atoms, heading, text, thumbnail, and flex. Now what I'm doing is it would be dynamically generated, right? It would have dynamic content. So I'm passing it from props. I'm receiving it from props. So I'm writing this. Now look, this was the thumbnail that I imported from atoms. Now what I do is I can use it as a regular React component. So I can type thumbnail and I can wrap my thumbnail inside it. Same for details like heading and text. Now one thing to notice here, I wanted a margin left of 15 pixels between this thumbnail and this description, right? So what I did, I created another details component inside food item and gave margin left to it. It's a div actually, and wrap that div outside these heading and text. Now you would ask me that why we created this extra component for margin left. That there can be case that we can give margin left to these two also, huh? Inside it. I can simply write margin left here also for heading and for text. But one thing you should clear out that we are going to reuse our atoms. So there may be case that I want to reuse this heading element somewhere, but I don't want margin left at that place. So that's why it's a good practice that we generally do not give our spacings like margin paddings directly to our atoms. We just give it a visualization, styling aspects to it, apart from any spacings. So don't give what you say margins and paddings to your atoms. If you want, do like this, just create extra element, give that margin and just wrap your atoms in it, so that we can easily reuse our components in other places and they remain consistent throughout the UI, correct? Now the third thing, organisms. So I have only one organism here, that is my menu card. So I created menu here. So suppose this is coming from an API, right? So I created an array of 3 items, and what I'm doing is I'm just mapping this array and passing all the name, thumbnail, description to this food item, that is a molecule, correct? So I get all these in my screen rendered. Now I wanted to give this menu card some padding border, so I created another style div, you can say. So I gave it border 2 pixel of dash border, then I gave padding, then I gave margin bottom to its children. So I get this, correct? So we have defined our atoms, we have defined our molecules, we have defined our organisms. Now the final task is to render this organism into the screen. So what I did, I went to my pages, I created a page called landing, right? So inside landing, I am just importing some of my atoms and my organism, that is menu. And I'm just simply rendering menu here. So I just created this center, which you have seen earlier for centering this menu item. And that's it. So my UI is completed. So you see how manageable our structure is. And for example, if you created more organisms here, suppose header and footer, so you want them to be get rendered in your landing page. So what you have to do is just import your footer and header here and just call them like this, correct? So you will be getting your header here and your footer here. So I have not created them. Let's comment it. So you see how easy our structure goes. So we can reuse our components. If we want to insert another food item, I just need to create another array item, and that's it. There will be another new item. So that what atomic design comes into play. Now let us see advantages. So what we got an abstract and concrete view of API, of our interface. You see, we were moving from left to right and we were moving towards concrete view of the interface. So at every step,
Dheeraj,
sorry.
sorry to interrupt. This is
Huh?
Ravi again.
Uh-huh.
I have a doubt here. Like,
Okay.
say here our food items are assumed to be static. Is it? The veg burger or the other only 3 food items right now is available, right?
Uh-huh.
Uh,
Yes, correct.
is there any other way to dynamically render? Say example, if the description getting changed in the future, how do
Mm-hmm.
we handle it better?
No, dynamically generated means, so I am just creating this dummy icon, right? Or dummy
Yeah,
data,
yeah.
right?
Here, the dummy data, yeah, hard-coded one. So
Hmm.
how better we can make it dynamic?
So you see, you will be, so it would be case that you will be calling your dynamic data from some API, right?
Okay.
From some
We'll be
APIs.
consuming the APIs and
Uh-huh.
adding the data.
So yeah, whatever data you will be getting from the API, so it will be automatically rendered, right? Because this
Replace
is
it.
React. Yeah. Whenever some state or something changes, so it would automatically get updated in the UI. That's the
Okay. For
power of React
simplicity.
now. Hmm.
Okay. Okay. I'm a beginner, sorry. So I
Uh-huh,
may not
no
be
problem, no
knowing
problem,
the
no.
advantages.
So
So
whatever changes here, na, for example, see, if I change this, so it would be automatically rendered here,
yeah, 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 yeah. So for
correct?
simplicity, right now you have added the data.
For the simplicity sake of point, so I created this dummy data.
Okay.
Whereas
Okay. Fine.
in a real world scenario, you will be consuming APIs only,
Yes.
correct?
Okay. Okay. I got it, Dheeraj. Thank you. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Okay, okay. So the first advantage was this abstract and concrete view. Then the second one is separation between structure and content. See, till level 4, we have our mock-up or prototype ready, right? The final step is we have our content placed somewhere and we just need to import it into our templates and done. We are done. Our pages are finished. So you see there's a clean separation between your markup, your prototype and your content. This is a very good point. So it follows separation of concerns, like so you are designing here, so you don't need to panic about the data, so you just need to panic about the prototype. At this stage, after this stage, just put your content and your pages are ready. So this is the second advantage. Then the third one and the most important is reusability. Look, we are not creating headings everywhere. We are just importing from atoms, right? We are importing this, we are importing atoms from headings. So if in future, if we want to use the same heading, so we just need to go to our atoms and just call this heading element. So it would have the same structure, the same styling, everything is same. So we are reusing our components at a very good scale. So it's a very good practice. Sorry. Then the fourth is modular design. So we are breaking our UI into different modules so that it can be more manageable, more easy to debug actually. Now project structure is very maintainable. For example, see, suppose a requirement comes from the UI team that we need font size of 40 for these headings. So now I clearly know that where I need to dig in my project structure. I know that this is my atom. So I'll go directly in my atoms directory. I'll open this and I know this is a heading. I'll just give font size of 40 pixels, right? Wait. So, look, so every instance of this heading got updated. So this is the power. This is the power that how easy it is to navigate between your project structures and how easy it is for the developers to take to the project structure. And you have full control. You know that where your elements are getting placed in your structure. So it is quick. It is very quick for you to navigate between UI and your structure. So this is the thing that I like about atomic design. And it is very useful for creating design systems. So what are design systems? So design systems are style guides, you can say, like we are going to use only these colors, we are going to use this font family, we are going to apply this much of margin. So if you use any Google product, if you visit any Google site, so within one click you know that this is a Google product. So how it is possible? Because they are using a design system. So they are telling that whatever the product is, we are going to use only 5 colors, we are going to use only this font family. So that makes their design more consistent across all the screen, and you get a clear you can say consistency between all of your products and on all of your platforms as well. So these are some of the beautiful advantages of it. Now, when not to use atomic design? So frankly speaking, I am very new to it, so I am also digging this atomic world. So I don't feel that you don't use it, but use on big projects. Don't use on small projects because it would be an overkill for you. So for example, you are making a to-do application or whatever small application. So it would not be a good idea to implement atomic design in it because it's not a complex project. Na? So it would be overkill. And you should not use when there is no reuse of components in your projects, because atomic design is at last based on reusability actually. This is two cases when not to use atomic design, and in future if I found more, so I'll be adding point to this slide only. Now that's it. So these are some of the articles that I found useful. The first one is by the author itself. It's Brad Frost article, so it is highly recommended to check it out. Second one is Adobe's article, which is also a good starting point. And the third one is from a website called Creative Block. So read it if you know more about the advantages. That's it for the atomic design. So if you have any questions, so you can ask me. Just unmute yourself and ask me questions.
Can we apply this atomic design to Angular, JS, and other frameworks as well?
Anything,
Dheeraj?
anything. It's not based on any framework. You can apply it on any platform, but it should be with respect to the user interface only. Correct?
Okay. Okay.
Awesome. So, any more questions?
Any other famous design like other than atomic designs? Any other common design patterns?
Okay, so other design patterns. Actually, if you are talking with respect to these libraries, na, like like Angular, Vue, or React. So I told you that it is not a new term. It was with you from a very long period of time. So what we are doing in atomic design, we are just break it into components. Na? These are atoms, molecules. These are nothing but some fancy names given to your components, so that we can apply the same principle of component reusing. But it just Brad Frost gave it a fancy term so that we can implement it well, so that we can structure and move from one step to another in a more hierarchical manner. So
Okay.
uh, so it yeah, so I think most of the companies are using atomic design, but they are not labeling their design system as they have implemented it using atomic design. So they would be naming it differently. They would be naming molecules like components. So naming can be different, but at last the idea is same. Like you break your UI into small atoms, just combine them to make more complex atoms, then combine those complex things to make your final UI. This is the idea. Nothing new here. This atomic design was there for a very, very long period of time. Just a fancy name, nothing else.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Dheeraj. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome. So any questions? Okay, I think I explained
Is
very
it
well.
hello?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. One thing that thanks for the explanation. It was really very good. What I wanted to know that yes, we are using these practices in our projects. Okay, on daily
Mm-hmm.
basis, we are
Mm-hmm.
using these. Yeah, it's a fancy name to it. But my question is like we are already using UI libraries. Like you use styled, no? So
Style,
styled
correct.
is quite different from the one that we are using, like material. Yeah, but what we are using is like material
Mm-hmm.
design for React
Mm-hmm.
material design.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you think this style will go with it with this atomic structure? How well that framework will go with this? Have you
See,
any idea? Like
See, material UI, if you are using for your design system, if you are using material UI, it is also a design system by itself. What you are doing in like Bootstrap or
yes,
material UI.
yeah,
So they have their components, they have their different atoms placed,
exactly.
right? So they are following atomic design itself. What you are doing in material UI, you are just picking some atoms like some
Mm.
buttons, you are then picking some form elements, and you are combining those atoms to form your complete,
Mm.
you can say, organism.
Yes,
So
yes,
material UI and
yes,
Bootstrap are itself atomic design actually, nothing fancy.
yes,
So
yes, exactly.
this,
So
uh,
they are already giving these types of things
that's what
because
I
we have
wanted.
their theme global theme there, so we can edit everything, we can edit everything from there.
Yes,
So
yes.
in that particular design frame also, do you think we need to like there is one question that I am struggling with always,
Mm-hmm.
like we can, should we directly use the material when making a big component, like here when we are making a say just before the temperature was molecules, organisms, you know,
Uh-huh,
if we
uh-huh.
are making organism using material design, should we
Mm-hmm.
directly should we directly import the components from the material UI library, or should we first import it in some file and make a wrapper over it, wrap
Okay.
it around our by our own component custom, and then use it? What is the better approach?
Okay. So I would suggest that you directly import from the material library, because they itself is a component. Na?
Mm.
They are giving different organisms from their library. So I don't feel there is a need of wrapping that into it
Yes.
and just putting your atoms into it. So if you feel that they are not providing some components that you want to use and it is not available at their library, so that in that case you can create your wrapper and you can import other components and atoms as well to create your desired UI. So that would be a good approach. So, so I don't think that.
But what I yeah
Yes, sorry.
yeah you carry on.
So I'm done with my.
So what I was yeah yeah what I am always worried about is not that our UX is constantly changing. Okay, and
Correct.
I am really worried that at some point it might happen that the input design that they want may not be available with the current current input they material UI is providing. It may
Hmm.
there is no way of attending it. So if that happens, then I have to go everywhere in the project and replace everywhere in the project and replace their component with my new component that I will be making. So because of that, I think that maybe it is good that I should wrap it always, but then it will be a overwork also. So that is my concern.
That is the case that when it would be, I think, a little bit difficult to integrate this into an existing design system, na? Because they are providing their own atoms, their own components,
Yes.
and now you are defining your own atoms. So you are challenging their structure. So you are directly going against their
Hmm.
structure, and you are just wrapping it around your components. So it would be good if you want some extra thing that they are not providing. And any other case, I think you should follow,
Hmm.
you should simply import and just use them, because it's a very good library. It's a very, I think most of the components that we see, so they provide. So I don't think we need extra things, but
Hmm.
if we
Yes.
do need, so just wrap it in your component, just add whatever you need and just go with the flow. So does it answer?
Okay. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
okay.
you.
So does it answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. Of course, of course.
Okay, awesome.
Yes, it really solved my problem actually.
Okay, okay.
Dheeraj, thank you, Dheeraj.
Welcome. So any other questions?
Hey, awesome, awesome, Dheeraj. Like this is like a very good start for our November talks. Really
Thank
awesome.
you. So wait, 2 slides are left.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So sorry.
So that's it. So I would like to thank the whole team of team Devcode, everyone, Sunny, and the all team, the backend team that is working for these great initiatives. So I love to connect with you guys. So I have mentioned some of my links, portfolio, LinkedIn, and this is a community that I manage. It's an Instagram page called madsemicolon. You can check, right? And special thanks to Team Devcode. So these are their links: Telegram, Instagram, right? Now I have hosted this slide and this example. So I'll be sharing the link in the chat window. Okay, so you can check. So that's it. So thank you so much. It was my first talk, and I think it went really well.
Yeah, Dheeraj,
So
went really well.
thank you, Zanny.
Yeah, great presentation, Dheeraj.
It's a good one, Dheeraj.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
So now
50.
people can relate like the way they are doing, but now they got the term. So now they can think of that as well because you have taken an example which is very nice, and the slide and all is well organized. So awesome, Dheeraj.
Oh, thank you so much. So I'm sharing the links, right? Live links. Mm, for the example one.
So Dheeraj, what you can do, we have a second talk. So what you can do, you can wrap all the links and you can share in our Telegram group, the DevCode one. Okay. So
Okay, okay,
from there they can like navigate to your applications. Okay.
okay, okay. Awesome. So okay, thank you all. Thank you very much for attending, giving your time.